Welcome. I'm Bedford, and welcome to all who are on the YouTube or Facebook. And this morning we're really celebrating the confluence of two seasons. As you can see with our Christmas decorations, the Advent of Advent is upon us, and yet this is also Thanksgiving week. And Thanksgiving and of course gratitude is appropriate at any time throughout the year. But there is one aspect of gratitude that I think far exceeds everything else. We can think of all the wonderful things that we can be thankful for that are kind of add-ons to our life. People, places, acquisitions, all kinds of things that we can be thankful for. But much deeper than all of that is the gratitude for the most powerful and significant thing of all. And that is that we are the Christ. We are God. God made us, and what God makes remains with God. And so it is with each of us. We remain in God, as God. Now that is something to be grateful for, isn't it? And with that in mind, I've got a prop today that I'd like to share with you.
You never look better.
Yeah. Some of you may recall if they're long-term Unity members, but there was a time many years ago now when the Unity was over on East South River Street. Well, it wasn't East South River, it was Law Street, thank you. That I gave a talk, and I was in full regalia of the Fool. And today I'm reminded of the Fool because of Trudy's comment about it 2 weeks ago. And it seemed appropriate to bring the Fool back, if you will, because in medieval times, the Fool was really the access to the truth, the one that could speak it to the king or queen and be accepted instead of sent to the gallows, which maybe everybody else would have been done. But at any rate, the Fool is really the wise one, just coming out in a very eccentric way because it's the only way that could be tolerated. Well, we're all fools. Isn't that wonderful? We're fools in the truth that we really are. And unfortunately, it's not well known, I think, that we are the Christ. We are an extension of God. And so that makes us the fools that can speak the truth without repercussions, at least for us. Maybe others might not like it, maybe they would. But the truth is, we are the fools that really know the truth and can share that truth wherever we are, just by being who we are. And in this case, by having a hat of a fool. A wise person, and that is your status as well. So be thankful that the truth is who you really are, and in that gratitude comes the freedom and the happiness that is our birthright. So let us continue with the welcome, the Unity vision, and together, a world powerfully transformed through shared spiritual awakening. And our mission together, advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformations through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. And our values together, abundance, acceptance, community, diversity, integrity, joy, and love. And we welcome we celebrate our children and welcome them with this affirmation together. Unity of Appleton sees the divinity in all children and nurtures their unfolding spirituality. And our daily word for November 27th, hope and faith. Hope dawns within me and leads me to deepen in faith. As Advent season begins, I say no to pessimistic or hopeless notions that may have crept into my thinking, dimming my hope and weighing on my mind and heart. Today I say yes to goodness and positivity. I feel a sense of renewed hope dawning within me, a promise that something wonderful is on its way. In these moments, I feel my faith reborn. I reaffirm my belief that no earthly condition, no worldly circumstance is greater than spirit. This is where I place my faith, in the power, presence, and love and grace of God. As I call upon these divine attributes within myself, I perceive them more readily in others. I grow in faith that, together, we have the power to create the world of our highest imaginings. And from the chapter of Romans, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that you may abound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Let's say together, hope and faith. Hope dawns within me and leads me to deepen my faith. My pleasure to reintroduce Dr. Bob Kohl, who's been with us previously, and we welcome him back enthusiastically. Since the introduction to back pain in his early teens, pain has been a constant companion to Dr. Kohl. It has been a lonely and difficult path that has, at times, dominated his life. He has pursued many therapies along the way, both traditional and alternative, which provided some level of benefit, but no therapy yet has been able to address pain and dysfunction at the root level. Dr. Kohl has an all but done dissertation and PhD in neurobiology, is an osteopathic physician, a radiation oncologist, longtime yoga student, and transmission to teach Zen meditation. His process of self-unwinding has decreased his pain and increased his function. His intention is to share and support this process that lies dormant within us all. Please welcome Dr. Bob Kohl.
Thanks, everybody. I'm not going to talk about pain at all today. I thought it was a little appropriate with the fool thing too. And as we think about the fool and how he jumps around a little bit, that's kind of going to be one of my openings into this conversation. And so out of the medical model too, I thought maybe we would do see one, do one, teach one. So I was here before, so we saw one with me unwinding a little bit, and we talked about it, talked about a little bit of pain. And just to reintroduce that concept of self-unwinding is, it fits so much with what pervades through the unity kind of creed, or what we are talking about here, where we see movement is very important, and we also see we are already it. We are the Christ consciousness, or we are. It's not something out there, okay? It's something within us. So I'd like to stick with this kind of focus for our discussion today, and maybe more than a discussion. Maybe an introduction a little bit for us, opportunity to do it, whoever is game. Now, it takes an awful strong person to come up here, one person to do this, so I'm not asking necessarily for one person to do it, but maybe whoever wants to, we could stand up and find places to stand around, whoever would like to do that. It's kind of a moving meditation. So it's nothing, I'm not going to ask you to do too much as far as the process of finding our way into our bodies is always an invitation. And in that invitation, there's a million ways for us to keep inviting ourselves within our own bodies. Because what's happened to all of us a little bit through our training and through our lifetime is we've been trained not to be within our bodies. And so Teresa just kind of told me that she did some breathing technique on her arm. She had some pain in her arm, has a fractured arm, and did some breathing technique, and the pain decreased. And so pain is also is really a wonderful window into the process of how we psychologically uncouple ourselves from our bodies. Okay, so the concept goes a little bit like this. We have this thing, this body, this thing we're walking around, and there's sensory input all around. There's vision, hearing, taste, touch, and also we're going to include our mind, because our mind just sitting still will give us little inputs, right? So we have all this input sensation, okay? Then what happens to this input? It seems to circumvent our bodies and go straight into an idea about how can I be good for everybody else? Oh, I have this need to be met. And it doesn't seem to land in our body. It seems to be uncoupled. And just a story that comes to me immediately, being a little fourth grader and having a little mentoring moment with a nun poking me with a stick saying, "Sit down. Don't jump around, Bobby Kohl," And she's not saying, "Well, why don't you get into your felt sense? And what do you feel about this, little Bobby Kohl? You seem to be restless. What is that?" There seems to be a repetitive theme there. that the mentoring was not, let's get in touch with it. And I'm doing some yoga teacher training now. And what the best thing about yoga teacher training is I get to do whatever move I want while I'm listening. I get to lay on my side, I get to do a pose, I get to jump up and down if I wanted to. And you know what? I learned great, okay? I mean, why do I have to sit in a desk all day, for the first 8 years? Or I went to school way too long, so that's, anyway. So, the invitation for each one of us is, if we'd like it, we could stand up, find a place in the back or on the side, and this will be like, maybe we can even include this for our meditation time later on, too. I wrote this down like it seemed important earlier. Self-unwinding is the natural expression of who we are. Seemed kind of good. The number one reason I'm here giving this talk is because it's happening to me. Not for any belief system, even though after it happened to me, I've read just about everything there is about this to say, what is happening to me? How did this happen? So in that way, I have quite a bit of background and read too much. I am a type A personality underneath. Don't let this sort of cool guy fool you. I am completely tightly wound, okay, underneath. The other thing, the reason why I'm here, that fits in with Thanksgiving a little bit, is the experience itself. It almost brings a little tear to my eye because the experience itself can be in some ways, there is this critic inside. I went to school too long. I went to medical school, sit on tumor boards, and you're a professional critic as a doctor, this and that, and you stand by this, and it reinforces that part of my personality. So in the experience of this, I have this constant critic that says, really, Bob? This is what you're going to go teach to people? Really? Where's the phase 3 randomized trial for that? And there really isn't a good answer for that, other than then it keeps happening. So this critic gets slowly into the back of the crowd. It's a far distant now. It's still there, okay? But the critic has decreased, okay? So thanks for inviting me, and I'm greatly appreciative to share, because part of the experience is this act of sharing with others. It seems like it's almost, I feel compelled to share. So that's why I'm here. I also wanted to comment a little bit before we start. Is this community is a community from my perspective of a group of seekers, and I think that's part of my personality that allowed this to happen. And by everybody getting up pretty much shows that you're a group of seekers. And the second thing is this group wants to turn within and actually makes this part of their mission. And that is a necessary direction for self-unwinding. And the other thing, let's not get caught on this self-unwinding like it's something different. This is just a natural process. I happen to use the word that's most used out there in the literature, but it's nothing special in a way that plenty of people have done it, and I don't want to make it anything special. The other thing that's important for our work today is a kind, genuine, nurturing, safe environment. That's both internal and external, okay? We could even talk about the vagus nerve and the breathing and, am I breathing through my abdomen? Probably not right now, a lot. But, if we create that environment within ourselves and within each other, that allows us to then enter the body and move from this place. All right, there's only 2 rules for self-unwinding. Feel and allow. That's it. There are no other rules. Feel and allow. Everything that I need to talk about with you is all the barriers to feeling and allowing. And there's a lot. We're humans. There's complex problems. All of us had probably, maybe one or two of you had a nun too. And she didn't say, what do you feel? What are you allowing? So there's barriers everywhere and resistance everywhere. Okay? So just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. Okay? All right. So standing is a wonderful place to start. Okay? I find that sitting is harder. And we can talk about that as a lifelong meditator. There's a different experience in unwinding and sitting, and it's a wonderful conversation over a cup of coffee or a glass of wine sometime. But for today, standing is a wonderful place to start, okay? And in our standing, there's a couple things we can do, okay? You could swing to the side a little bit in a repetitive motion. You could kind of come up and down. You could stay perfectly still, okay? And in the beginning, what I'm going to ask you to do is kind of stay with the same motion, whatever you pick. And whatever you pick, try to ask yourself, what do I need to move? So when I work with everybody, if you would come and say, I want to work with you, Bob, we'd walk in there and we'd say, well, how's the temperature? Do you need more light? Do we need some music today? And looking for that place inside of ourself that starts to get in touch with the felt sense in us. Like, actually, it's too cold. Well, thank you. Let's turn this up. Okay? So same thing today. All right? That's how we invite ourselves in. So the question that comes up almost immediately to everything is, Bob, if this is so readily available and it's innate in us and we can do it, how come I can't do it? Well, it's a really fair question. Really fair. Okay. Or how come it doesn't happen more often? Or how come I don't have in touch with it? I want to tell you that some people I work with, just talking about it, they recognize that they're already doing it. There are people out there that are like almost lonely in it, like, oh my gosh, when I found your website, and they call me up and they say, I can't believe I found your website, and it's something that's happened to me. Let me tell you my story. So we get on Zoom and we talk about their story and something happened to them and this is happening. And it's very good for them. So some people, even in discussing this right now, say, oh, I get it, Bob. I'm already doing it, so I don't know what you're talking about. And that's great. So there is creating a space for it immediately. And then as we start to get into our bodies here a little bit, and I'm going to calm down my talking a little bit, I'm going to talk to us a little bit about the process. And this is a little artificial today because I'm going to talk a little bit too much. But we're going to give a taste of it today, okay? So we're going to start a little bit by getting in, and then I'm going to kind of talk to that felt sense, all right? So take a second, decide how you're going to move. I'll show you a couple ways. One way could just be like this, repetitively. One way could just be back and forth, or just nice and still. Maybe even having your hands in this position or this. If there are just some wild yogis out there, they could get in some deep yoga position, But it doesn't really matter where you start from, okay? But keep it either repetitive or nice and still, or keep the same motion going, okay? All right, so let's try that. Either close your eyes or very soft gaze if you need to. The soft gaze, I think keeping your eyes closed is better, but within a group like this, sometimes you feel more safe with a soft gaze. And that's important for you to create your own safety. And what's most important, I'm going to try to talk with you today, not at you. I'm going to try to talk into your experience and support your experience. And in that way, words are always limited, and I'm sorry about that. That's all I got. Sometimes in our movement now, you'll find a certain place in your body where you have a sensation. Let's see if we can find that place. And in some ways, let's pause right there. And in some ways, to recognize that if we have a sensation, we have a natural tendency to want to move from that. It's kind of like this crossing our legs and uncrossing our legs. But we're asking ourselves to stay there for a little bit, to recognize the sensation itself. I'm trying to stay away from the word pain, because pain is kind of a psychological concept. But also, if something is painful or has a sensation that is on a scale from 1 to 10, maybe 6 or above, it's not helpful for this process, because it sets yourself into a sympathetic system that's non-healing or doesn't allow yourself to go in. So having a sensation around 2, 3, 4, 5, very reasonable. I'm going to share my sensation right now is I have a little butterflies right in my upper abdomen, my stomach area. This felt sense, or for me, I call it finding my fascia, because that's what it feels like for me. Centering. There's a bunch of other words that people utilize for this. Can we shift from being the controller to the listener or the receiver? Now, we should always talk about thoughts here too, because sometimes we can't settle into our body and there's thoughts. Don't stop them. Just wait. Just watch them. Thoughts. That's okay too. There could be emotions. With the emotion, can we uncouple the story about the emotion, and can we find the place where we actually feel that in your body? Like I was saying, I could say I have an emotion of being nervous, talking in front of a group, but when I get down to it, it's just kind of a little bit of a butterfly, soft feeling right here, right below my ribs. And sometimes this sensation, as soon as you feel it, what happens to it? Does it go away? Does it move? Does it get worse? And remember, the world of sensation is the world of non-words per se. So sometimes it travels in colors or feelings or textures, or like it's mercury, or it's, like mud, or, it has qualities that aren't necessarily in words. And that means you're really getting to your feeling sense. Now from this place, see if we can find some movement. and the movement almost coming from the sensation itself. The sensation is almost driving the movement. A concept that may help a little bit in support of this is the sensation can be a blockage that our bodies naturally want to move. There's natural movement for us. And for some reason it got blocked. And that sensation shows up and says, blockage, blockage, blockage. And instead of just trying to relieve it immediately, saying, well, what is this blockage? So I'm going to take a minute here to kind of find mine and move from that place. So I'm going to give a couple minutes for us to do that, to see if we can find our movement from that place. But it's okay to just not expect anything and not to move from this place either. Just to keep finding the felt sense. So. Sometimes it comes out like a big yawn. Why does a blind person move so peculiarly, in such a strange way sometimes, if you've met a blind person? And why do they move sometimes expressing their emotions in ways we've never really seen before, like Ray Charles? Because they haven't seen each other. They haven't seen you, and they haven't got the idea that you're not supposed to move in a certain way to make each other uncomfortable. Not part of the group. This is one of our barriers. What do I look like? Like the fool. He jumps around a king. Right? At least in the movies I've seen. Jumping and hopping around. Everybody else is stiff, straight. And in him, he has wisdom. Little bells on his head. Bedford's our genius. He's our wisdom master today. Here are just some of the barriers as we do this to be aware of. Not necessarily barriers, but sometimes we get to a little spot and we freeze. And that could be a traumatic event in three-dimensional space. Sometimes we move real fast, and sometimes we move real slow. Sometimes there's a lot of emotions and fear that the emotions will take over. But just keep coming back into that sensation that rarely happens. And if it does, stop anytime. You're in charge of this process. it's really important for us to start to realize, too, to not necessarily become outcome-based. We're here to feel. And our process is movement. So for this group, we could say our Christ or our Christ consciousness just wants to express itself. Through our bodies. And so people will come to me and they'll want relief from their pain. And one of the biggest hurdles is this constant, well, I haven't been free of pain yet, Bob. You haven't cured me. But as we know, the healing process can be painful, and even more pain in different ways. And the trick is to start to see it from the place that the word pain starts to be elusive in our vocabulary. What is our sensation? Where do we feel it? So how do we help this process for us? A little reading, a little intellectual gate to help us allow this to happen. There's something weird about mirroring. People who do it in front of you, we have these natural maybe mirror neurons that makes it okay. If I do it, you do it. Touch can help a lot too. Someone puts your hand on you and it allows the sensation, almost like a moving energy, into someone else. And we intuitively know that. The touch of a mother for a child. And then there are specific protocols to help us, the little movement or things like this. So these are ways to explore the self-unwinding process. But the most important thing for us today is to recognize that we're just built for it. And not to make it anything special. And it's already in our lives. But it does take time and energy to get there. You got to drive to church. You got to drive here. You got to get your clothes on. You got to eat something. You got to sleep to get here. We have to help make the container, but after that, something else is in charge. And we move from that place. How do we get out of the way of this expression of our own brilliance? Thanks, everybody. Let's find our seats. Any questions, comments?
We'll have a group discussion at the end.
Oh, okay.
And,
Sure.
and we can do that then if that's okay. All right?
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Thank you, Bob.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I now invite you to begin to prepare yourself for reflective personal prayer and guided musical meditation, after which I ask that you remain in essential silence during the music. If you choose to, you can close your eyes again. Feel the weight of your body as it relaxes into your chair and you let go of today's anxieties. Feel your feet on the solid earth as you let go of tomorrow's worries. become aware of your breathing as you breathe in life and breathe out love. Breathe in life and breathe out love. As you become centered, focus your attention on your beautiful heart, your beautiful Christ self. Become filled with gratitude and allow into yourself that which fills you with peace and love. So we begin. Invite you to gently return to this place. Open your eyes in the spirit of peace and gratitude.
before we move on to the affirmation of prosperity, I just felt remiss in not introducing also Bob's wife, Kathy, and welcoming them both, and we're very glad to have both of you here. Thank you. So now we move from meditation to our affirmation of prosperity. This is the time in our service when those of us who think of Unity of Appleton as our spiritual home practice putting spirit first in our financial life. We know that when we do this, not only does it prosper the spiritual community we love, it also supports our own spiritual growth and prosperity. Let this be a time to connect with the guidance of Spirit in you and give whatever amount Spirit guides you to give. Whatever that amount is this morning, take it in your hand and bless it with your love. If you're one of the growing number of us who give electronically, take the gift into your heart. Feel free to bless the plate as it passes by. Let yourself feel as grateful as you can to God in you as your source. Then please join in the affirmation of prosperity. Together, Unity of Appleton is alive with the energy of spirit in the flow of divine abundance and radiant with unlimited possibilities. And the celebration of giving and receiving together. Divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I joyfully give and willingly receive. I give in love, and I trust God as my source. join our hearts and minds together as we bless these gifts. Spirit, you give us abundance, and we return that abundance because we are one in spirit. And these, our gifts, are part of that abundance that we share with our community and with the world. Thank you. Amen. Now, before we go to the announcements, actually, part of the announcements, today is the first Sunday in Advent, and as the Christmas season now is upon us, we're going to light candles. Today, 2 of them for trust and hope. And so we are into Advent with trust and hope in our hearts, for all is good forever and ever. And now on to announcements. On to announcements. The book study is going to resume today. Join Jay and myself in this book study today after the service upstairs, and hope to see you. And if you haven't been a part of it, please nonetheless join us. I was looking for my book. It's the one by Michael Beckwith, Life Vision. It's a wonderful book and very practical in how to become more enlightened with the Spirit. And then on Wednesday, Larry Phillips will lead this class on Trust Your Life, Wednesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. in the boardroom upstairs, and you can still attend even if you've missed other meetings. Moving on. A huge thank you to Steve, Tom, and John. Yes, let's give them a hand. Fantastic for all the work they've continued to do for our tech infrastructure. And last week, I think there were some tiles missing, or maybe 2 weeks ago. Anyway, they've all been replaced because they had to rewire all kinds of things. And Steve's got us a new computer, and we're really grateful to all of you for all your good work. Thank you. We're getting new lighting, and you can see the this up here, and the lights will be on soon. New camera setup and better streaming capabilities. With all of that and our newly improved website, we are looking good. Janice makes coffee every Sunday morning for us to enjoy after the service, and Louise, yes, thank you, Janice, and thank you to Louise, who I think is downstairs, who and friends clean up every Sunday afterwards. All the rest of us have to do is just eat, drink, and socialize. Isn't that great? Thank you. And we have a potluck luncheon coming up. Mark your calendars for Sunday, December 18th for a holiday potluck after the service. To indicate what kind of a dish you will be bringing, check the Connect and Serve table in the back for the sign-up sheet. Hope to see you all there. One thing we do well in Unity is eat and socialize. And the Spiritual Social Action Team, looking for something to get you in the holiday spirit, be a bell ringer. We've got a date to do just that. Unity celebrates within our community and within our wider community by ringing bells through the Salvation Army on Friday, December 16th from 5 to 7. We have 3 assigned places. I'll make sure that they're on the back by next Sunday. They're festival, pick and save, and I can't remember the third one. Anyway, they're assigned, and we need to be there 5 to 7. Just bring yourself and your Christmas spirit. They have aprons with the Salvation Army. They have the bells to ring, and share your holiday cheer. Even more Christmas spirit soon. There will be a giving tree in the the Spiritual Social Action Committee. It's going to be right back there. In fact, we actually have it up there now. And the kids today are decorating the mittens that Spiritual Social Action Committee cut out, and the kids are decorating them. Next week we'll actually have the names, and we'll put them on there, and we'll invite then everybody to take one of them off and buy a gift. You don't have to wrap it, and bring it here. It's all going to need to be delivered by the 15th, I believe it is, of December. So the Milton ornaments will be on the tree and have details for Christmas wishes, which will be on there next week. And you can, and it can make it come true for a local family. Buy the gift, don't wrap it, it's been told. Write the person's name on the package and leave it under the tree. That's an exciting thing to do
These
too.
are very specific requests, like size
Yes.
11 shoes for
Right.
a boy, or
Right.
So you kind of look at what you think you're comfortable getting.
Right.
Sometimes they're more general. but
Right.
yeah.
And if there's, we're going to have a family, I believe, of 5, and so there could be shoes and shoes, and for the same person. That's okay. Whatever your mitten says, if it's a duplicate, that's okay. But next Sunday, our grand finale to our HopCop meeting last few weeks. Next Sunday, December 4th at 11:30, we will complete the transition workshop with Reverend Phil right here. We will discuss action steps and have the opportunity to take ownership in creating Unity's successful future. The Life Visioning Group has graciously recognized the importance of this event and has canceled their book study for that day. We anticipate the meeting to run about an hour. Please join us if you can. That's really important for the future of us. And already planning for next year. Written to provide tools for daily living and to suggest answers to some of the questions of existence. This book will appeal to spiritual seekers and even skeptics. Led by Karen Sophie, this book study will meet for 6 weeks, starting Saturday, January 7th from 10 to 11 here at Unity. Sign up at the Connect and Serve table. Karen already has a few books available for $10.
This is the 5 principles.
The 5 Principles by Ellen Davenport.
And the speakers that we get during those 5-6 weeks will also be speaking about this to reinforce
Wonderful.
the message.
Yeah, great.
These are at the core of unity.
Okay. So now let us stand up and recite together the prayer for protection. Arms up. The prayer for protection. The light of God.
God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.